Welcome, welcome to my lovely HP community and the 5D Collective. Our final messages for our lovely full moon, centered on love, as we were discussing. Lovers are inner child adults with wholeness, integrity, healthy self-worth, and they talk with open hearts. We also know about your eternal child wants you to see, hear, soothe, and have them feel safe and secure to walk earth as you. So you might want to tune into those two. They're part of the full moon, and there's more. Okay, you find inner stillness, raise your frequency, and ground yourself when anchored in ventral regulation. Furthermore, we discussed the seed of enlightenment is within everyone, but its realization is thwarted when self isn't owned and whole. So you can do all the yoga, mindfulness, nature walks, meditation, mindset, mindsight, and spiritual personal growth practices and skills that you want, but you won't achieve inner stillness or enlightenment without being anchored in ventral and owning your sense of self from knowing healthy self-regulation and soothing in your bodies, your own body's state of safety in connection, not protection. That means bilateral brain integration, vertical. What comes up doesn't have to go back down. You own sensations, images, affects, meanings, behaviors. You have a window welcome and or a expanded window tolerance. So you're navigating mindfulness, mindset practices. That's our 5D collective. We own our sense of self. You can tune on into those episodes if you'd like. And here we are now with our messages for the self-empowered feminine and masculine, life partners, true lovers. And that is where, number one, what the empowered collective, let me pause with this. Till death do part, sickness and health, all that. It doesn't mean something based on whatever religious background or based on being monogamous or polyamorous. Aha, voice. 1 second. It is based on you being able to have that integrity. I'm imperfect and flawed like anybody else. So we all make mistakes. Grounded in humanity is what the 4D, 3D don't do because they are not their higher grown-up self. They're actually not their whole self. They're their 16-year-old is how I'm going to break it down to. So again, I'm pseudoscience lady, woo-woo. But after all the attachment trauma educators and my own personal life and just seeing people and knowing of mystics, yes, the masculines are disappointing because they're all distorted feminines. The distorted feminines are disappointing because as an empowered feminine, I know of free will. God gave it to us, Holy Spirit, Jesus, and that's why it didn't get confusing when I got clears. Actually, it made more sense. No, it got more beautiful because with intuition and picking up on our entire oversoul every year, I've picked up on the oversoul's 12 months because we all have. But I do Dharma because I expand as an empowered feminine. The ones who do karma, they just repeat what is a biochemistry of fear, shame, blame, fault, revenge. And that's why their chemistry is really uninteresting. It's also, not pleasant. But it doesn't weigh us down. The empowered feminine is a person who's a mystic. And she might not use the word 5D and she might not be a she, but it will be a person that, like Dr. Daniel Siegel explains, has eustress, the good stress. Because every time I get up in the morning, I am invigorated by the fact that I have an integrated brain. And so I have integration, which is equal to kindness and compassion. I'm a flexible, adaptive, coherent, energized, stable brain that is able to be present, attune, resonate, and trust with anybody. So I'm going to be present, attuning, and resonating and trusting with my significant other. And that's why I'm a safe haven to myself and I'm a secure base to myself. And then I'm also to that, which is the other, till death do part, sickness and in health. That's very easily maintained. Why? Because I am whole and love Maria first. And if I'm on a plane, I'm going to be smart, even though I could be stupid. We don't know that. As an empowered feminine, I could be stupid. And my masculine, I hope, would be like, hey, put that fucking mask on. Don't you remember the strategy is you put it on yourself first? Because that's what the empowered masculine is. He's good at reminding us of what we need to physically survive. And I'm not joking right now because I'm an emotionally first person. Okay, so when I think of masculines and feminines, as a feminine, I know what the masculines are always able to remind me of. Distorted, feminine they might be, doesn't matter because their brain works really great. For what my brain will say, okay, you could have done it differently, but totally got it. Thank you so much. Okay, that's how an empowered feminine can respond to any of that, which is not the compassion manners that instead an empowered masculine does have. Okay, so an empowered masculine, once they are their own empowered feminine, has the capacity to softly do the same thing because now they are able to automatically see, soothe, safe, secure the feminine because they do that now with their own inner child. So they know how to do it for themselves, and that's why their right mode has complete access. We no longer have a distorted feminine, which is a non-bilaterally integrated masculine or feminine that is distorted. So you have a not paused self insecure, let me spell it out to you so you can understand, person who has no ownership of their sense of self, no secure attachment anywhere to be found. You got a 16-year-old leading the room like my facade friend who likes to say, excuse me, confused and shit. Okay, so very clear when you got a person who doesn't own their sense of self and is not a ego of their own. Use your human name. Great. I got one, you got one. It's called They're Not Irrefutable Facts, our 3-year-olds. So awesome. When you have true lovers, it's softness. So empowered masculine and feminine have compassion, which means they also have empathy, which means they equally will be able to be present, attune, resonate, and trust. Now, trust is the part of where we expand, and trust is the part that the masculine, as he comes in from having learned how to become emotionally available to his own inner child. So that's sensitive. The distorted feminines, they're coming in with the empowered version of their self and aware that they will not have the past affect the potential for partnership. Okay, so equally you'll find that the people who are coming together have some type of fear, but they come from different angles. As an empowered feminine, what I can tell you is I have personally no fear when I look to the past. I find it humorous because of, let me pause to see how I can best describe this. I'm going to wait to see you walk a walk and talk a talk, my lovely masculine. That's all I can say. And that's about it. And we're going to have a good time. Because empowered feminines ain't thinking it's going to be forever, because you can't promise that, because you don't know when the asteroid's going to hit. I don't like liars, and I don't like for anybody to think you can lie. Okay, but the point that I'm trying to make is that we have the unknown, if you understand. Okay, so some would say, isn't that extreme? It's realistic, it's not extreme. But however, to be practical, the point that I'm making is that a masculine, empowered one will make their offer, an empowered feminine will say, sure, okay, let's see what happens. And that's the minute that the offer has been made. Now we're going to see if you're an empowered one or not. And that's the moment of consistent, contingent communication. So trust is there. And what happens for the empowered feminine, unlike the distorted feminine who has now become empowered, distorted feminine that's become empowered, she's looking for them to prove that they will stick around, and that is the fear that the distorted feminine who's now empowered will have. Masculine who's empowered is finally able to have the ability to be the person who doesn't go silent and just, not give explanation and actually be inconsistent. Okay, so emotional available people we got. For this empowered feminine, we're going to wait to see what these empowered masculines are all up to, because the masculine tends to be very slow and also a consistent what's the word, bullshitter. So they like to play tricks. They're all mind. And if you've heard any of Sadhguru's stories, there's one that I remember. I won't share it all, but I'm going to pause and allow myself just to stop with the humor and conclude with, at the end of the day, for empowered feminines, we have a good time because we will be able to grow a relationship. And as for the forever thing, that's a bullshit way to put it. We're deciding, are we going to grow old together or not, basically. So the logistics, you need to give me logistics. That's what I was trying to basically get at is, okay, how are we doing it? What's the plan? Give me 1, 2, 3. Now I want the list. And okay, are we comparing notes? Cool. Ah, awesome. Okay, so this is our list. We decided? Yeah, okay. So we'll revisit this if something is out of place tomorrow, right? Okay, cool. That's how it works. So you're not gonna be going in with I hope that this time it's the good one. The distorted feminine who's become empowered goes in like that. Empowered feminines, it's is it a good? They're all good. They're all good even without them being committed. They all are good because we are able to make the best of everything that comes our way. That's how enlightenment works. So true lovers though don't have any of this inconsistencies. Life partners also obviously. So in time, we're consistently showing up for each other and we get to be vulnerable. And so the masculine's getting familiar with this level of vulnerability, enjoying it, also unused to it, scared of it, understanding the health behind it and the enriching experience behind it, which is why they are having the bigger, if you will, push. That's what an empowered feminine can say, which is why we understand that they're getting their feet wet and a lot more, but they're just so slow because of this fear. But it makes sense because their thoughts first again. So getting familiar with your emotional vulnerability has its time for you to be getting comfortable. The body has its time. The empowered feminine, the ones that got to the other side, like I said, they're just going to wait to see, okay, is it the real deal or not? And at the end of the day, what you can know is that in all cases, for our lovely self-empowered feminine masculine, we enjoy our relationships. And so life partners, they commit, and they do so because they're true lovers. They're true lovers because they know who they are, they know what they want. And so they go into a romantic relationship not with a hypothetical. They go into it with, I'm committed, I'm serious, and I know this. And I know a lot of people like to talk about those differences between people who come in really fast. So if you're of our 5D collective, you have healthy self-worth, you have empowered gut, you have an empowered voice, which means you don't yell at someone. It means that masculine or feminine might you identify with. You have both. Again, you're an inner child adult. You see, hear, soothe yourself, know how to present to somebody something. You understand what emotionally unavailable men, women, and theys do. Okay, and so I'm not talking to people who have a gut that is not good. When I have met the not good guts, they ignore people like Gabor Mate and they take stuff out of context. They ignore going to therapy and getting their gut healed so that they can meet their own self and be securely attached. And they then talk about emotionally unavailable situations on an end that becomes completely as a 44-year-old woman, seeing desperate men and women out there as they get older not take advantage of people like Patrick Tian makes me not laugh, not cry, just say, and I'm the woo-woo stupid lady. I wonder about that one. No, I don't. I actively know that they hear and go to wherever they want. So they're investing their time in the stories that they'd rather invest in, which are the self-fulfilling prophecies that their insecurely attached selves, the facade people like my facade friend, they didn't choose themselves. My facade friend gave up on himself, but he is happy with somebody who loves him. So everyone's going to find love if they want it, is actually what I can tell you. That they hopefully end up with Terry Real is what I hope for them, so that their unfinished business can be healed and then they can have passion and, real passion, which is what we get. Empowered feminines and empowered masculines, if there's one thing you ain't going to be missing, it's complete passion, because again, I'm going to speak the truth in your face and you're going to speak the truth in my face. And when we have any kind of emotional stuff going on, we're both in connection. So we're supporting each other with ventral energy, which means we're going to have funny bones consistently. But when it comes time to being serious, there's a way to be serious with Krishna Lila, because we explore the depths of seriousness with playfulness, because we got 24 fucking hours. You better bet we ain't gonna make it weigh us down, because also we know mindfulness, mindset practice is like the back of our hands. So again, I'm not just here without reminding you of content creator, mentor, podcast host, talking about being a self-empowered, enlightenment, functional, inner child, adult mystic. I use the words so you can know the topics, but that's actually with 5D, Christ consciousness. It's all here. It's called bliss. It's called ecstasy. You call it all you want, but it's a person who's practicing something that is really straightforward. It's in the now. Frontal lobe right here, or prefrontal cortex, excuse me. The frontal lobes are here. And so long story short, again, empowered feminines know what it means. Death do part, sickness and health. Yeah, got it. Let's see you, masculine. What are you up to? Empowered masculine, not the ones who are pretending to be masculines. When I heard that rabbi say they have a hard time committing, I'm like, how old are they? 18? Are they still small? Because actually there are people who did commit at 18, 19. They have integrity. They're still together. They're happy. They grow old together, happy, not bored. The people who say that growing old together is bored, it's like, well, why are you staying? Go leap. I mean, wow, really? You're going to grow old and bored? That sounds pretty awful. Some people don't want to get out of it's hard to live life like that avoidance because they say people are fucked up. Now, the reality is you didn't unlearn your unfortunate nervous system's unfortunate business of your first years of life because you chose to quit therapy, not to do mindfulness meditation and journaling, or continue to try to get your to continue to do everything. So again, self-empowered feminine masculine is a really fun. You have no lack of fun. Passion, connection, consistent communication, that's for sure. There's no silence, none of that bullshit. Also, when people have different polyamory, monogamy, monoamory, doesn't matter. There's always clarity. Nobody is afraid to lose anyone because this is the part of I'm myself with the eternal child here, like what up? So as you get older, this is what takes place organically for an empowered feminine and an empowered masculine, I'm sure, but again, I'm not them. And so we're able to know, life has a bunch of shit, and that's why we want to share it with someone and or someone's. But again, for my polyamory community, I'm going to give you my 2 cents. As a securely attached woman who has compersion, not only have I found that you need to have an empowered man who doesn't fear that they're going to basically lose you, so they have to have confidence. Otherwise, it's my friend did this when I said it's about love. I don't fuck just anybody. That's not what this is. Love? You mean like love? Yes, like I love them. So you can't love more than one person, I see, but you can fuck more than one person. So when people have insecure attachment, they're okay with you being an object and objectifying that which they consider, I don't even know, because honestly it's in a body that doesn't feel ecstasy. So they're just thinking, oh, it's meaningless. Object means meaningless. But the minute you give meaning, which is what love is, now I feel threatened, which is why, as Terrio points out, jealousy is of insecure people, insecurely attached ones. So when you have an empowered, secure, attached woman, again, I ain't afraid of changing my mind because I know my mind. And if you're afraid of losing me, you don't have confidence to know you can't, which means you don't take pride and love in who you are. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me because you're beautiful. Okay, so when people are empowered, they know who they are, what they bring, and that's why they don't lie. Okay, and so this is where, though I was trying to say, you got 24 hours. And so polyamory are things that you clarify, you write down things. Polywise is a really good read. I'm still reading it right now, but that's a good read. You could use some of their temples if you need that. But anyways, we'll continue. In the meantime, the most important part is life partners commit by choosing it because they love each other for real, not pretend, and that's because they don't actually come in without being serious about it, which is one of those things that the reality is, for you, whatever age you are, if they begin to be inconsistent, they're emotionally unavailable. Allow yourself to just give yourself this awareness. Inconsistent communication and you not explaining something doesn't require me to tell you. Eventually, you're being an asshole. Now, we all learn from things, so learn from me. Don't call them an asshole. Allow yourself, like with my facade friend, he taught me how not to do any of whatever it is, like let me try to talk. No, it's automatic. I'm not talking anything. I just recalibrate, period. And that's because you showed me who you are. The minute you disregarded me from an emotional, mental, and physical interaction of something that will have been important as we're building a bond that you will have said you want to build. You don't need to go into details on these words. If you do have this, again, question, like I said, the minute a human being in general is inconsistent, they're showing you that they aren't really solid foundation, and so they can't be a life partner, and they can't be a true lover to you because they're not to themselves. And if you have enough self-love, awareness of your intent, of what you are trying to do with your communication, you're going to be able to also leave it alone. And as age groups, it doesn't matter, but like I said, you can learn from what I'm sharing. So the 3 is a charm for me. That's how I began to notice as a teenager, okay, so you have a pattern in general. And in a relationship, this is where we all have a pattern, and I'll close on out with this one. One of my lovely, beautiful relationships. I'll never forget. And there's always 7 days. For some reason, this number 7 as a mystic, I know there's numerology, and so expansion of consciousness, the crown, things like that. But it's just something that I'm sure has even another story to it. So I didn't get a phone call. We typically call each other every evening. I didn't get a phone call, and I asked about it. And they told me that it had rained. And I was like, okay. My gut was like, nah, that sounds off. But when you're in a relationship, 4 years, not going to be doubting you. Also, as a person who already met a bunch of people who lied, and just in general, lies come out, meaning anything that is not linear is going to surface as something. I don't need to put any effort into finding out because it's not of importance. It's not urgent. I'm not going to die tomorrow if you don't tell me what's going on. I got water and I got air. I'm breathing right now. So you end up leaving it alone. But 7 days after, I get the call. We need to talk. And it's funny, right? Because usually it's the men who say that, the women who say that we need to talk. But then again, right here, don't do the gender stereotypes, please. Men, women, days. We all are different. But you will notice the pattern of people. I think I read this one to you in our previous episode, but I forget. So let me allow myself to share with you the wisdom of Sadhguru as he gave us some. 1 second though, as I find it. When you live in close proximity with the same people for a period of time, you slowly get to know everything about them. Sometimes you see them beautiful, sometimes angry, magnanimous, or petty. Everyone's drama unfolds in front of you. You know how they think and feel. Consequently, you become hugely opinionated about each other, about each individual. And then there's more, but I'm going to leave that one alone and allow me to simply share part of it, which is to have the capacity to work with your mind, emotions, body, and consciousness, which is what we're talking about, and to be able to not make any of those hypotheses, but to work the charge, to work the thought. And again, you are going to be able to present to a person, hey, what's going on? The minute that they're not going to give you clarity, you have a person who is emotionally unavailable. So you drop it like a hat. And avoidant, ambivalent, disorganized attachment category, yes, they will not be changing any of their patterns if they don't go and heal. Or they have to be so self-aware that they disregard, they stop themselves from doing it. I have yet to have met any of those who did not take healing seriously, that have not matched their pattern to a T of what I'm learning and keep learning from attachment trauma educators. So the avoidant will continue to do in and out however they feel comfortable. If they're scared, they're out, they're closed. The ambivalent continues to suffer self-regulation and getting really revved up and not knowing how to handle it. And one day is really upsetting, and then next day it's fine, okay? And then disorganized is flipping, flopping between both and doesn't really know where they stand. So they don't become any type of life partner to themselves or to other people. If they're working with a therapist, that's a different story because they're going to get out of it. And you don't actually appease each other's habits, meaning that a attachment category of not secure and then disorganized is not being kept. Everyone can be working to get earned secure attachment. It's for the benefit and health, which is where, like Terry mentioned this. I agree with him, because I'm going to grow old with you, and I know what consequences come from you not choosing to be integrated. You're going to work to health. Otherwise, why would I be going with somebody who decided that they're going to grow old unhealthily? I mean, again, we all have vices, yes, but this is something that will bring you immense biological, gene, all benefits. Like every single smart person that I've learned from, this is where, like, when you meet from smart people, yeah, if you want to live and get old with me, then the equation is, we're going to ensure health for sure to the best of our ability, so we can, all be in okay shape. Anyways, that was a side note. But empowered feminines, masculines, they don't tease, they don't have questions in a way of accusing each other. And so this is what you can look forward to. Also, thanks to all the smart therapists out there doing their best to help everybody who wants to get their earned inner child securely attached. And then those of us who say, yep, we're having a good time as healthy adults, mystics and not, mindfully living and loving people. Come on over, be yourselves with flaws and integrity and open-heartedness. So see you again soon. Have a wonderful full moon.